right, another CSS battle. Let's see what we have today. We have something. Okay, I don't know how to describe this shape. What's cool is we should be able to do this. Ooh, we should be able to do this with like the same styling and then rotate it. I wonder if there's a way. There's a way. No, there's not. Can you have multiple borders on an element? That would be the ideal. Like if we just had a border, but the corners were this background color, and then the middle. So like I've done a dashed border, right? Dashed, yeah, and it was the corners. I used the corners in a previous one, and that worked pretty good. But this one, we don't need the corners to be that color. We need that thing. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we do, unless, no, that won't work. Okay, let's just see what happens. Now, someone asked if I could just do normal selectors and then refactor to kind of explain. Why did that delete? Oh boy, off to a good start. Anyways, to use normal selectors and then refactor to the star and universal selector and how all that works. Show it better that way. I'm still gonna break the rules and style the HTML and body. You know, this isn't standard CSS practice, but I'm gonna write out the selectors like this, change them to the stars later, hopefully show the process a bit better. So let's get started. Let's just say border, right? And let's say it's 50 pixels solid and this light green color, right? Okay, so there we have that. Now, if we turn this to dashed, we get this. Now, what I would want is like these edges. Like, let's throw a margin on this, see if we can get margin of 10. Oh, we lose those sides. Okay. Oh, let's make a smaller border. Let's see if we can show up the. Okay. So what I'd want, turn off slide to compare. I'd want these dashes, get it set up so that this dash on a rotate 45 degrees. Let's get that colon in there. Okay, where these dashes line up for this. That's what I'm imagining. But the corners, how do I make them disappear? I'd want the corners to be a separate color and the dashes to be the solid color. Now, if we do add in a margin, say 50, right? Those things start to disappear. Let's crank it up. Let's see if we can get it down to just the corners. 50. No, let's go 50 there. So let's say I get the margins figured out so that these corners become the dark green color. Let's just, I mean, can you comma separate multiple borders? 40 pixels solid and do dark green. And no, you most definitely cannot. I'm not going to Google this right now. That would be silly. What I could do is stack elements to create this effect. Where, you know, they both have a border, but one's solid, one's dashed, and use that to create this. I'm not convinced that's the best way to go. I could do large, like negative margin on this. Watch what happens when you do negative margin, where we step it up. Let's turn off the 45 so we still can't see it. Okay, let's turn this down a bit, right? And if we do it just right, we get the dash in the right spot. You know, negative 100. right? You can kind of sometimes get, with maneuvering it, you might be able to get the dash in the right spot and get this, get this effect, but I'd have to do one this way, really long, line up the dashes, one that way, really long, line up the dashes, and then duplicate that for the middle one. That doesn't sound like a good plan. I don't like that plan, at least. Stacking borders seems like having a solid border of the light green and then stacking a dashed border on top seems like a good way to do it, and I might be able to just do a scale. Instead of changing the border and changing the sizing, I might be able to scale it down. The other trick I could do is to use, like, let's say, 2 or 3M, right? Let's turn off this margin. Let's just shrink it back down to here. Shrink that back down so we can see it. Now, watch what happens. The body, because we're not targeting the body. That's why it's not showing up yet. So now we can target the body. We have it nested. Doesn't matter. We can say border, right? Or actually, we're not going to change border. Where's the body? The body's not showing up yet because it's not getting a body. Okay. Let's do this. Let's give it. This is what I'm going to eventually be doing. Okay, there's the body. Now let's see if we can change the border size by changing font size. 200%. Yeah, okay. 120%. There. So changing the font size changes the border. We can go smaller too, 50%. Okay. So that's a trick that you can do to have kind of like relative units across sizes, changing the font size instead of changing a border, I could do a variable in the border if I'm just doing the one, and that probably, let's see, it's 4. Yeah, that'd be fewer. It'd be the same number of characters just about, because it's 9 to set up a variable, and then it's another 3 to write it. So it'd be about the same. One less doing it this way. I think we can also do font, but we have to do, no? Is it a comma, a separated one? You have to declare like a fake font family as well as the size, but I haven't done it. Oh, there it is. Okay, the A comes after. Okay, so the font shorthand. It's a shorthand property, like background. Background has background size, background color, background image, background position, all contained that you can write in it shorthand. Font's the same way, but it has to have the 2 inputs of size, and it has to have a font family. Now you can throw in whatever letter, and of course it goes, I don't know that font family. I'm just going to fall back to the system UI, and it does it. So then we can select, that's how we can do this. And this is less than putting a variable in on the size of the border down here. I don't know, it's kind of a cool little hack. I haven't made any progress on the design yet, though. All right, I'm going to try one last thing. Let's see what happens. Let's get our body off of this. I don't want to look at the body right at this moment. I'm going to see what happens when I put a box shadow inset. I don't need an underscore. Oh boy. Alright, box shadow, we're going to do inset. Let's throw that on there. Of, 0 blur, 20 pixel inset. Okay, it comes inside the border. I was kind of hoping it would lap over the dashes in the border, and then that would make life real easy. But it starts inside the border. What if we do a negative? Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, one last thing to try. Box shadow doesn't work. We can get rid of box shadow. Outline, right? And we say, what do we, 3M solid, and give it the dark green color. I know I'm inverted right now with this. Let's go like this. Let's give it a little bit of a margin so we can see the outline. There we go. Let's type outline right way. Hey, there it is. Okay. All right. So outline does, outline offset. Can this take a negative value? It can. But then it overlaps the border. Overlaps the border. Because then, 50 and it's completely there. So what if outline comes before border? I mean, is it always going to overlap it? Yeah, it is. It is. So it does border, then outline. I might have to give up on this train of thought. There is a way to do this with 4 box shadows. Yeah, that's just the way to do it. So we do 1 box shadow up. Or actually, I could do... Yeah, I do 1 box shadow up, 1 down, 1 over, and 1 this way. And the box... That doesn't work because the box shadow will stretch. Oh, yeah, so... do I need a border for that? I think I do. All right, let's get rid of this outline. That isn't going to work. All right. Let's give this a bigger margin so I can see, test my... Let's try another box shadow idea. So we're going to go 20 pixels up, right? 0 and... There it is. Oh, 20 pixels to the right. So it covers the border width as well. So I'd need 2 elements that are skinny rectangles with 2 box shadows. And then I'd have 4 rotations going. So the first 2 are going to be the inner ones for sure. The second 2... So if I have 4 elements, I feel like box shadow isn't the way if I'm going to do 4 elements to make that work. At least the box shadows would repeat the same. I could put the box shadow on the HTML and I could just cascade it all the way down through. All right, what happens? There it is. Okay, that's what I gotta do. We can do this 40, and as long as it's less, so because this is the radius, and so I'm shrinking it on both dimensions, but because it's longer, sticking out longer this way, I could make it, and I don't have to do 4 elements. I just have to do 2 really long box shadows, because I think you can, you can shrink it with the negative. Okay, so, yeah, it'd be 60 and then negative 60, and it's not horrible. Let's go that way. All right, guys, here we go. That means I can do... So it's 1 element. Yeah, the HTML and the body are all we're styling. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the border is going to be... We don't even need a border. We just need a background on this. Background is going to be green. I think... Yeah, all right. Okay, we do need a border. I want to see the size of it before I start 2 pixels so I can get it positioned properly. All right, so I do want... Actually, yeah, we're going to make this the diagonal one. We are going to do a rotate on this. Rotate. And the reason why is because it's the bigger one. Now the body is of course going to be inside the HTML, and rotating it and positioning it inside there without a position fix will be a lot easier than trying to expand it outside of the HTML element and doing that. So 45 degrees, right? Now let's get our sizing right. We're in pretty good shape here. I just want to shrink. Well, I don't know what dimension I want to shrink. Let's say 50 on this. Okay, that's not too bad, actually, working. Okay, I thought this would be harder. Sometimes on the rotations, the margins get weird. Not 200, 100, please. Thank you. All right, and this is going to be 50. Oh, that's going to work. And 80, 90, there. Okay. So our box shadow idea will work here. Let's write multiple box shadows. So we're going to need negative 90 px 0, 0, negative 50. I'm just looking at this, seeing if I could write this without doing for longs. If there's one variable that I can just swap in between them, but I don't think it's gonna work out. So then we do a 0, 90, yay, 0, 0, negative 50 pixels. I could probably see 1, 2. That's 4, 4, 4, and 4. So 12, 9 won't save us any. Set up the negative 50 pixels as the variable, and then 0, negative 90 pixels, 0 on the blur, and negative 50 pixels. Did I mess up one of these? Yeah, I did. I added an extra 0 here. Okay. There those are. We're not going to put a color. Now, usually on each of your box shadows, you declare a color on them, right? That's normal. You have your gray or whatever to make it look like you have a card going. But in this instance, what happens is by not putting any colors in here, let's turn off our diff, it comes out black, right? Ooh, I think my border is going to mess everything up by 2 pixels. Huh. The cat got into the popcorn bowl. How fun. Okay, whatever. Pets are fun. Alright, she's having the time of her life, I guess. What was I saying? So the default color is going to be black because we haven't put in a color. But when this color property, we usually think of it for font, but it ends up making the default color for not only this, but also our border. The border defaulted to black, the box shadows, but by changing the color property, they will adopt that color for themselves if no other one is declared. We can still declare a color here and override it, right? If a color is declared, it takes that, but if it's not, it takes the color property. So let's get rid of our border. I think we're still looking good. Hey, happy day. All right, now on our body, we want this to inherit all of these things, but be rotated. Actually, we want it, yeah, we're going to need to rotate it another 45 degrees, right? Or actually, I think 90. We could do negative 45, but it's extra characters and it all comes out of the wash. Now, what I do think I will change. Can I do these in M's and do that font size thing? Or do I have to scale it? Oh, I wrote it all out in pixels. What's 90 divided by 16? Can you do that real quick? I can't. I know 50's like 4, 2, 3. It's 3. It's 3 and something change. That sounds like a nightmare, doing it that way. Okay, let's just see what happens when we apply this stuff to the body. And that's, like one thing at a time, right? Nothing happens. Why is nothing happening? Why is the body not here? No. HTML body. We have a background. We have that. We have box shadows. Let's throw some margin on this. Ah, there we go. So it's oh, okay, okay. At 50 pixels is disappearing. There we go. 30. Yeah, okay. So we see we're kind of in the right spot. We just need to change the width of the border. And you know what? Because, or the width of the box shadows. So that 50, the 90 is the depth. The 50 is the, I need to do a var on both of them and then change them. Oof. That won't be bad. It's a lot of refactoring. Just because I don't want to rewrite for, I mean, writing all new box shadows here, I mean, let's be real, it's not like the end of the world if we copy and paste this box shadow. C, Control V, colon on that. And what we do is we shrink this down to 70, 60, yeah, you know, like 70, you know, like that. Let's look at our diff. We threw a little bit more margin on this. 50, it disappears. It's out of space at 50. Negative 30, negative 35. All right, and this is going to be 50, 60, 50. It needs to be a bit bigger. I think it's going to be like 55. There it is. All right, I just have to figure out this margin gobbledygook. Okay. 40, it's still there. I think the rotates are throwing me off because it's like shrinking too far. Okay, let's leave that one 40. Let's see what happens when this one 50. It disappears. Why is it disappearing? Oh, let's see. Okay. If we change this one, let's see if it shows up. I think what's happening is 35. Yeah, that's what's happening. There it is. Okay. All right. It's not the margins per se. It's the box shadows are disappearing. Over. Not over. What am I trying to say? Overflowing. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Okay, 50. And then this is going to be like 40. Ooh. There we go. Okay. So I'm not going to leave these like this. 35. Because you see how repetitive this is? Wow, you know, come on. Why be repetitive? All right. And then, oh, is this still 40? Or is this both 50? There we go. All right, they're in line. I just need to change the shrink value. 5. Okay. 45. There it is. 25, and that's our final value. Okay, so 25 and 45 from 90 and 50. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this var. And it's going to be dash dash d for dimension. And var dash dash, what should this be? What makes sense? It's the blur, it's the radius, r. It's called r. So dimension and then radius, right? Okay, everything's back to normal. And now what we can do is instead of the negative 90, oh no. How do I make a negative out of it? Doing the negative ones need... The negative 50 at least is the same. Because I can't just say, let's control Z that thing. Let's come down to here where it's 90, right? I can say dash dash D. I can't declare it that way. Can't declare it that way because I normally redefine it. So I think, because you have to do var dash dash D. Yeah. Oh man, that's... I don't think I'm saving characters. I'm adding so many. That's 5 characters with the 3 that it is to set up the variable. And then down here, 5 and 9, 14. Might not be worth it, guys. I don't think it's going to be worth it. It's going to be a whole lot of time and effort. And you know what? I know I could do it. Maybe it'd be better. And maybe you thought of a better way to do variables or not duplicate everything. But we have our values. We have our solution. Let's quit chasing this and let it be, right? Live and let live. Let's please be 100%. I don't want to repeat it last night where it was like not quite right. 100%. Happy days, glory, and joy. Oh, I didn't even rotate this one. I didn't need it. Oh, because we're not inheriting. Yeah, hold on. Let's do a refactor, which, I mean, the refactor doesn't even save us that many characters. Let's do a refactor. So star is already working because this is already applying to the HTML and body. So it all works. Okay, I didn't even need to rotate it because the rotate was applying again to the body, and so it flipped it back to normal. Sweet. Okay, so what we have here is I was doing HTML and body for both of these so that all of this stuff would inherit onto the body. We're nested. I said everything. Selected everything with this star selector, right? Where anything in the DOM is getting selected that way. And so when I write down HTML body, that's essentially my intention with that star selector. That's all I have here. I'm selecting the HTML and I'm selecting the body. Now the second one that's nested, because it's nested, it's essentially anything that's inside whatever the previous selector was, right? And just because we're selecting everything, including the body, now we're applying specific styles to only the body with that second selector, right? Because the HTML is not inside anything in this scenario, and so it isn't selected, right? So we can write all of these properties here, and they're getting applied to the HTML element and the body with the star selector, and then this one is only getting applied to the body because it's nested. It takes a minute to wrap your head around it, but you can go pretty deep with it, even with multiple P elements and whatnot to yeah, it works good for saving on characters in CSS by nesting things and then cascading your properties that you want both of them to have. Sadly, this box shadow cascade did not work out. There are multiple ways to make it work out, like doing relative units that we could change with font size, but I'm not that good with it. There's tools out there where you can just translate in between the different ones. That's what I should use here. And then I wouldn't have to write a box shadow. I would write, font and do that trick I showed you earlier. So not the best character count, I am sure. I feel like there's going to be a better solution out there. I'll have to see what David did. He does some pretty cool things with this. Good solutions. Let's get those pixels off of this 50 here. I need all the help I can get, right? We're at a lot of characters here. 227. Yeah, if I could get rid of that second box shadow, that'd be the way to go. Cool. 100%, 227. Hope you had fun. Hope I explained it good.